Let's bring our palms together at our glorious and beautiful heart. As you close your eyes softly, feel your tip of the tailbone draw down. Feel your buttocks draw down and the energy in your legs. Allow your energy to feel grounded. So feel the legs, feel your feet. Feel the energy moving through the lower part of your body. And then start to notice your inhalation through the nose, simultaneously feeling the body grounded. And then notice your exhalation. And then one time together, we'll breathe in for a 3-count inhale, 3-count exhale. So inhale for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 3, 2, and 1. Release your hands and open up your eyes, and welcome to Astro Yoga Chat. I am Kate.
And I'm Natalie. Hi. Oh, look at us, our sweaters. You're wearing the stars and I'm wearing the Zodiac.
We are on brand, Natalie. We are on brand.
Right, we are. And last time we started a new series about the natural zodiac. So we started with Aries, and today we arrived at Taurus. So Taurus is fixed earth. So fixed means already they don't like a lot of change. Earth, they need stability. And it's connected to Venus. Yeah, Venus rules Taurus. And to the second house of money and self-worth. In Vedic astrology, it's also the second house family. And they do like everything that has to do with the senses. So eating, touching nice things, luxurious things, enjoying, the nice sides of life. And well, they can be very stubborn, possessive. And when you look at it from the evolutionary astrology side, so we had Aries, the baby, emerging into something new. It's the instinct about trying something new. And then at Taurus, we've arrived at like licking our wounds after the experience of trying something new. And they need now a lot of things that give them stability. They have a very strong sense about survival. So they really need the money or hoarding things to have enough for bad times, hoarding food or whatever, clothes, everything. So it's about survival, food, shelter, clothes, air, sleep. So that's what a main focus is.
Mm. Mm. We mentioned about just like with the senses, and we talked about how in yoga there are the 8 limbs that we practice, and we've mentioned this a few times in our episodes, but we always will bring it, we always will mention things again and again, because this is how we learn. You just keep hearing information, and one day it just like sinks in, or you build upon that information. So when we talk about the 8 limbs of yoga, there is a step called pratyahara, and pratyahara is sense withdrawal, right? So it's withdrawing of the senses. And if anyone has practiced yoga nidra, that's like the deep relaxation meditation, there comes a point of pratyahara where you feel like you're awake, and yet your senses start to slowly shut down. Or I shouldn't even say shut down, because it's not a bad thing. They just kind of like get blocked. So your eyes are closed, that sense is off. But then when your ears stop listening to the teacher, and now you're internally inside your conscious, your subconscious, your unconscious mind. So there is this sense of like there is this place of practicing pratyahara where you withdraw from the senses. And that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. That's a good thing, especially when it comes as part of our yoga practice, being able to do that and not being ruled by what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you touch.
That's
Wow.
also why yoga is a spiritual practice, right? So we are souls having a human experience. So we do have this body with all the senses to experience something, to learn something. But when we're connected, like the practice is also like, to take that away and go inside and not just be stuck in the outside. So when people have a lot of, planets in Taurus, they could be very good at building things and all of that stuff, but the question is like, are you stuck in the 3D and it's all about just that and eating and hoarding and stability? Or can you have the nice things in life and still be connected and say, okay, maybe I don't need so many physical things to survive, but I also have some spiritual tools. And that's where yoga comes in. So, like the withdrawal of the senses, or I can find my security in life being connected, doing my breath work, whatever it is, right?
Mhm. Now I'm going to ask you a question, Natalie, and I don't mean to put you on the spot. So if you don't want to answer this, just say it. But because I've heard quite a bit about 3D, 5D, or I think, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know too much about that. So, when you say 3D, what does that mean?
So I'm not really an expert with that, but as much as I understand, it's like we are here in this physical reality, so that's 3D. But when we ascend, interestingly enough, they seem to skip the fourth, but we are ascending into the fifth dimension, which is where we can move things or change things with our vibration. So we are not stuck in reality and things are happening to us, but we can shape all of that by our thoughts, how we think, our emotions. And that's what they call like the split. Like Dolores Cannon was talking about that in her channeling sessions. Um, some people will stay stuck in the here and now and in the war and all the diseases going on. And some people are ascending higher, and all of that is still happening on the earth, but they're on a different spiritual level,
Mhm.
and it's not affecting them physically all that much because they're building something else with a higher vibration. So that's called the splitting of the earth. But we're
Mhm.
still here all in the same earth, right? But only, when you tune in and you listen to us, apparently you're aware that there might be a little bit more than just, going to work and clothes and eating and sleeping and all of this, right?
My one of my philosophy teachers, Joshua Green, who wrote a beautiful uh, translation of the Bhagavad Gita. It's called Gita Wisdom. Joshua Green, he calls it the latte syndrome. You wake up, you get your coffee, you drink your coffee, and then you become on autopilot, right? So then you're just on autopilot throughout your day without realizing that there's the energy that's out there, the possibility, not even possibilities, just the energy and the way that you can live your life, is on different frequencies. Yeah, thanks for explaining that. It's what I thought too, but I just
It's just something is coming to my mind right now, not astrology and not spirituality, but just acting like, so we do not want to condemn things like living in your senses and having a body is a good thing. That's why we have it. We are here for this too, but in acting, like when you go into the moment, like, like you're not planning in a scene, you're preparing something in the here and now, you do sense memory. So actually you just try to remember the cup of coffee, how it is warm, and all of this. So you do things with your senses to arrive in the here and now. And aren't we doing that in yoga? Like breathing right now and not just thinking, but observing your thoughts.
Mhm.
So you can actually use your senses and all of that, in a spiritual way as well.
Totally. I mean, it's part of us, instead of saying the mind is bad, right? Or my ego is bad, or this is that. It's like well, I mean, we do live in this whole situation, at least in the yoga philosophy that I study, is about duality, right? So it's this sense of good or bad, but the mind doesn't have to be bad. You use your mind. Look at what we're doing with our mind right now. Creating this podcast, creating this show. It's not a podcast, it's a show, putting this out there, showing, teaching people why, because we're using the stuff that's in our mind and then from our heart and our soul, and we're putting it out there.
Right.
Yeah, the mind is not bad. The senses are not bad, you know?
And so when we talk about Taurus, of course, I should mention that right now we have Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus. So Jupiter will go into Gemini in late May in Western astrology. And they have a conjunction on April 20th when they come together. I think it's around 22 degrees of Taurus. So you should have a look where 22 degrees of Taurus is, because Uranus obviously is the planet of huge changes and revolution and breaking free and not liking the norm of things. And Jupiter is about expansion. So in what house, in what area of your life, there will be huge, expansive changes coming, along. So I think we talked about it once, Uranus didn't change anything in my job house in May when it hit the first time. Now it's coming up the second time, and it's going to be very close to my MC, but with Jupiter. So something has to be coming up. I would be very surprised if it didn't, But so in what house is there something, is a big change coming? That would be very interesting to look that up.
Very.
Yes.
I'm like, Natalie, look that up now and tell me. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, I mean, I have expressed to Natalie my interest in learning how to read a chart because I love astrology so much. And I've studied with someone who Natalie recommended to me, the Leo King, David Palmer, who's amazing, right? But when there's how much me to study and read a chart is just like, I don't know, I just haven't, it hasn't clicked yet. So every time Natalie is like 22 degrees, where is this? I'm like, Natalie, where is it in my chart? Go look it up. I'm sure you're like, Kate, look at your own chart. It's
You know what? It's like a little bit a guessing game in the sense of the houses have many meanings, the planets have many meanings, planets coming together can have many meanings. So when I observe my friends like you, transits coming up, I could be like, okay, it's affecting the sun. Is it the career? Is it the father? Is it the personality? Is it the constitution? So how it's going to play out. So we cannot really say this is going to happen.
right.
There are possibilities, so in which area, and it will be one area or it will be more areas, but an astrologer said this week it's about possibilities or probabilities. So it's not 100% for sure, this is going to happen like this, but something will happen in that area. So yeah, it's still surprising me too. I cannot put my finger on it. Like, you have a big transit on your moon. Does that mean you're going to be moody, or is something going to happen to your mother, or, like, which one is it going to be?
Right. Yeah. No, definitely. Definitely.
And Uranus actually came into Taurus in 2018. And I mean, we have observed, everything getting more expensive, so
Yeah.
even like food, groceries, everything, like the survival things we need, electricity, gas, all of that stuff we need in our everyday life. Uranus brought a lot of instability.
Yeah. And like you said, on the basic stuff of security and survival. That's actually so interesting. Do you feel sometimes that astrology is maybe, yes, it might be helpful, like looking forward, but do you feel like it's also really helpful, like to study looking back?
That's what good astrologers do. Like, they say, okay, when was the last time Uranus and Jupiter came together in Taurus? I
Mhm.
think that was in World War II. Well,
Mm,
not so great, right?
right.
But I mean, like what my grandmother told me about World War II, you came to the bank one day and they said, sorry, we have no money anymore. Money was gone, it had no value anymore. And then, so I mean, That's why many astrologers have been saying for the past few years it could be that, the money system is going to break down because Uranus is in the sign Taurus. Taurus is also about money, or it's about food, right? We have, like, in the media, we don't hear about it, but there's been farmers' protests all over in Europe. So there is something going on with food and how food gets produced and whatever. There's like shipment problems with food and whatever. So
I
there's
saw a Yeah, I saw a very brief like article, which I read because I'm very interested in this, about the cattle farmers in the United States talking about this is desperate. Like this is bad, like they're in a bad state. Like, they're not talking about $1 million of like, going down, but like I don't even know if it was like $1 billion. I can't remember exactly, but all I know is bad. And the fact that the media doesn't talk about it or doesn't pick up on it. I think I saw an article about the farmers in France because they went to go and they protested and they put like manure all over the place, which is very French, I felt.
Germany too, Germany
Germany
too,
too. Yeah.
Holland and many other countries. Yes.
So, and again, survival. So basic needs of survival, right? Food, yeah. Whoa.
So, we said it before, if you're interested in astrology, on just for your life, maybe you have a little journal, write down what happened, what day, So there was a very close conjunction to that degree in 2000, in the year 2000, when Jupiter and Saturn, I think they connected at 20 degrees of Taurus. So if you're old enough, what happened in the year of 2000? And I think it was around May or June. So Saturn restricts things, Jupiter expands. For me, year 2000 was my most wonderful year in my career ever. I was dancing at a musical show. It was so much fun. It was hard work though, but it was so much fun. So it was great. So I experienced a conjunction in my job house already before. What happened to you in 2000?
Of what I remember, I don't remember exactly what happened. I don't remember exactly what happened. I remember it being a very interesting year because wasn't 2000 the year of like Y2K or something like that, where where everyone thought that the year was going to turn over and then the financial systems, our ATMs weren't going to work and this and that. That was like the year 2000, right? Yeah.
Right.
So I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. I don't know.
I think, with your chart, everything is like a house behind mine. So it must have happened in your ninth house of teaching, foreign countries. Ninth house is also father, teachers, gurus.
Interesting. So I'm trying to figure out how old were we? I'm trying to do the math on my freaking
One.
calculator.
So it was around our 21st birthday.
Okay, so that's when everything for me changed. That's
Or
whenever
22nd, 2021 to 22.
22. Yeah, that's whenever my life was shifting quite a bit. Like meaning like my life changed because I was leaving behind like my being a teenager and all of this. And then I moved into the city and I moved back into the city, I should say. And I was now going to school in the city and I was on a different path. I was on a very spiritual path, but I didn't find yoga yet. So it wasn't that kind of path.
It was spiritual, but the ninth house is also higher education. So obviously you were doing like your bachelor, right?
Yes, yes. Because I actually went to school for 2 years at a different college first. And then when I was about 20 something, then I went over and I moved back into the city and I went to a different college. And that's whenever I became very serious about my studies. That's when I started to study media and advertising, which, yeah.
You're studying the Bhagavad Gita now, so maybe that means you're gonna in April start with your astrological studies.
Oh, I would love that, actually. I mean, I would see the thing is, it's like, it's very interesting. You know, there is this, I mean, I'm being totally honest with everyone. Like, there is a huge pull with me and the astrology. Huge. I mean, Natalie, we've known each other now for how many years? I mean, for a while. I remember for a while, I remember,
Like
um,
10 years probably.
yeah. And I remember the first time coming to Vienna, and like we were at some restaurant and you pulled up my chart and you were just like telling me all these things. And I'm like, oh, like, what is that? You know? And it's because there's this sense within me that like, it's almost like I know it or I feel it or there's something and you're like, yes, like tell me more. Like it's almost like tell me more about myself, even though I know it, but I want to hear it. And that makes me believe it even more, right? Like it's just affirmation to say, yes, I'm in the right path. I'm doing the right thing. Even if it's challenging, even if you said in my chart, remember when Saturn was all over me and you were just like, Kate, oh no. And I was like, yeah, no shit, Natalie. Like, welcome to my life, you know? But it made me feel better about that, right? So,
But you have
anyway,
Mercury in the eighth house. So Mercury is the astrologer also, right? Because it's Hermetic astrology. And the eighth house is of like supernatural things, like astrology. So you could speak very well about it, and you do. So
and I study it and I absorb it because I love it. And like where, and then I guess when I share with you all, like Natalie's the expert in astrology. We know this, right? Kate's the kook in astrology. We know this. And even though I know is I know it's like I'm continuously learning and absorbing in my own way. And, always remember when you are studying something, like don't be stubborn like a Taurus and don't be like so fixed and like, being like, oh, this is how it has to be or whatever, like blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, just be like, when it comes to studying this stuff, like just be fluid with it. Let it come in. If it excites you and if it's cool, cool. Let it be cool in your life. I don't
it
know
should
what.
always it should always be something that is helping you in decisions. Do you remember when we talked Valentine's Day would be like a little bit tricky this year because Mars was moving on top of Pluto, which is like very emotional, could be aggressive, right? There was like shootings happening again and stuff like this. So, and people could get very emotional and triggered, so if you know this, and you keep it in your mind and you feel this coming up, you're like, okay, I'm feeling the universe right now because it's out there, but do I need to react like this or right? So it's being prepared, and then it's also knowing, okay, difficult transits maybe last 2, 3, 4 months, and then it's over. So everything is cyclic, then the next energy will come and move, and so it's just helping in a way.
Big time, big time.
Like yoga is helping us.
Exactly. And like our yoga practice teaches us that everything is temporary. Everything. Life is temporary. Okay. Like everything is temporary. So knowing that even when you're going through the most challenging situation of your life, it will be temporary. It will shift, it will change. And not just hearing somebody say that and being like, okay, okay. No, you got to believe in that, you know? So, yeah, I appreciate astrology. I appreciate yoga. So,
Well, so maybe as a little homework,
hmm.
at your survival instincts, what do you really need to survive, and where are you maybe a little bit stubborn and not wanting to change,
Hmm.
and maybe just like have a look at it and maybe just ease a little bit more into those topics.
That's a great homework. Okay, let's bring our palms together at our heart again. And with your eyes closed, now that we have all of this, I'm going to say beautiful knowledge, concepts, ideas, and expansion, knowing that everything is temporary, knowing that there are these at times fixed energies that we navigate. We all navigate. Some of us at different times than others. Just remember that the only thing constant in life is change. So, on your next inhale, as you breathe in through your nostrils, just follow the breath And perhaps you can take even a deeper breath in. And then as you exhale, follow the breath as it escapes your nostrils. Release your hands and open up your eyes. And thank you everyone for being here.
Namaste.